One of the biggest concerns that people have when it comes to Hex Pulsechain and PulseX is the fact that the origin address owns roughly 90% of the supply. He has the ability to dump the price to zero and just walk away with everybody's money. Is the origin address just going to dump all their tokens and use the Hex Pulsechain and PulseX community as the exit liquidity and drive the price to zero? So the first thing that I'd say is that yes, a high concentration of cryptos or stocks in the holdings of one person or a small amount of people can be a cause of concern. It's definitely a question that people who've never invested should be asking. But Hex is not the exception. If you look at Mark Zuckerberg, he owns 12.8% of the shares outstanding of Facebook. Warren Buffett owns 15% of the Class A shares of Berkshire Hathaway. Elon Musk owns 17% of the shares of Tesla. And Jeff Bezos owns 10% of the shares of Amazon. So you might be asking, oh yeah, but that's not 90%. Regardless of the exact percentage, all of these people have enough shares that the combination of the lack of liquidity to absorb their sells, as well as the disclosure, which would cause shareholders' confidence to go down, would completely destroy the value of these stocks and drive it to zero. So while yes, this is a legitimate question, it is not exclusive to Richard Hart and the Hex ecosystem. The law of diminishing returns states that the more you have of something, the less you need of it. If you have one house, you do not need another house as much. So if you then go and buy a second house, it is worth less to you. It is not as valuable to you because you already live in the first house. The same applies with cars. If you own one Lambo and you buy another one, the second Lambo is worth less to you. Same thing with money. The first million you make means more to you than the second million you make. Why is that important to understand? Because when it comes to these CEOs of companies and these big whales in crypto, chances are if they've been holding this long, they have a lot of money. Why? Because if they were holding in the beginning, let's say, and the price went up considerably, they would feel the urge to dump because they don't have the things that they want. They don't have houses. They don't have cars. They don't have nice clothing. So they feel the urge to dump their shares to buy these things. But people that have a lot of money don't, which is why they are able to benefit from the massive price appreciation. They already have their cars. They already have their homes. They already have their clothing. So as the origin address and as one of these CEOs, they likely have a lot of money. Enough money that they can get everything that they need. Warren Buffett has not sold any of his Berkshire Hathaway shares. In the same way, Warren Buffett has all the money he needs and is passionate about his company and about his stock, and he just doesn't want to sell. The origin address will not want to sell the tokens that they own in Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX. Richard Hart, his legacy is on the line. Should the origin address dump all the tokens, that would completely destroy his reputation, his integrity, his legacy. There's basically no recovering. Furthermore, when it comes to many other cryptos, they have companies behind it and they need to dump their shares and cryptos on the market in order to pay for their operations. It's called overhead. They need to pay the CEO. They need to pay the developers. They need to pay for the real estate. When it comes to Richard Hart projects like Hex, there is no company behind it. There is no overhead. There is no need to dump the Hex and the origin address wallet to make payroll and to maintain the operation, which is why the token was able to do a 10,000x in under 2 years. Same thing applies for PulseChain and PulseX, albeit I'm sure there are developers on Richard Hart's payroll. He is glad to pay for them on his own dime because it's about his legacy. And the proof of that is the origin address has not sold a single Hex in any of its wallets. While yes, small groups or one entity having the ability to dump the price to zero is a concern, people understand that it is not in the best interest of these people to do it because Their legacy and reputation is on the line. Everything has to be disclosed, as well as the fact that they just don't need the money. They have all of the things they need. At this point, it is just a matter of what spot they are on the Forbes leaderboard. To summarize, while yes, if you are someone looking into Hex, the origin address is definitely a legitimate concern. It is not something that is specific to Hex. It is a concern that applies to every other company and cryptocurrency. In order to understand why these people that have so much of something don't just dump it, you have to stop putting them in your shoes and you have to put yourself in their shoes. The more you have of something, the less you need. And since they have all of the money to pay for the things they want, they are less and less prone to want to dump the project or company that they are passionate about and that gives them the best returns. I do not think the origin address owning the majority of Hex Pulsechain and PulseX is an issue. In fact, I believe it is an advantage because Richard is so wealthy. He is in it for legacy and he cares about the price. He has stated that the most important thing when it comes to crypto is price performance. So it makes it likely that he will be benevolent and do everything that is in the best interest of his community. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please check out my other videos, like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. Thank you.